Henry's phone buzzed with the cancellation text just as he pulled into the restaurant parking lot. 3 years of loneliness, 1 night of hope gone in 5 words. He should have driven away. Instead, his headlights caught something that made him kill the engine. A woman in an evening dress, designer heels, kicked off beside her, sobbing into her hands near a luxury car. She looked up, mascara streaked, and in her eyes he saw the same raw desperation he'd once known. She was his blind date, Veronica, hiding from a life Henry couldn't fathom, and this unscheduled encounter would crack open carefully constructed walls. Henry stood with his hand extended while the woman stared at it like she had forgotten what kindness looked like. Her shoulders trembled with each breath, mascara running in dark rivers down her face. The dress she wore probably cost more than his mortgage navy silk catching the parking lot lights. Behind her, the luxury sedan gleamed like an accusation. All that money, and still ending up alone and crying. It reminded him of the hospital where his wife Amanda had died, how all the expensive machines could not fix what truly mattered. He was not trying to be a hero, Henry thought, dropping his hand but staying close. It just seemed like a rough night. The wind picked up, carrying rain and expensive perfume. She hugged herself, knuckles white. When she looked at him, truly looked, he saw a calculation behind the tears. It was the moment someone decided whether to trust a stranger. Henry knew that moment. He had lived it in a grief support group he had quit because he could not stomach other people's pain. "You do not understand," she said, her voice steadier than expected. "I should not be here." The way she spoke made Henry wonder if she meant the parking lot or her entire life. She glanced at her car, then back at him. Henry recognized it, the look of someone carrying too much for too long with nowhere safe to put it down. He had worn that look for months after burying Amanda. "Nobody should be anywhere, really," Henry said. "We all just end up places." Her lips twitched almost a smile. She wiped her face, smearing mascara worse. "I am Henry, and I was supposed to have a blind date tonight, but she canceled, so I am not exactly having a great time either." The admission surprised him, but something about her broken elegance made honesty feel safer than small talk. "Veronica," she said after a pause. "Just the name, nothing more." She looked at the restaurant, warm light spilling where couples laughed. Was it this restaurant? Henry nodded. She laughed sharp, bitter. Of course it was. She pushed off the car, swaying on bare feet. The heels lay abandoned like evidence. "I am the one who canceled," she said, meeting his eyes. "I am your date." The parking lot held its breath. The silence stretched thick. Veronica stood in her expensive dress and bare feet, and Henry realized she had been out here the entire time. While he had received the text, she had been 20 yards away, falling apart. Why? The question escaped before he could stop it. She flinched. "I got scared. Saw your profile picture with your son and I cannot do families. Do not know how." The way she said it spoke of damage deeper than dating fears. Henry thought about Leo at home, probably still awake, wondering if his dad was having fun. The kid had been so excited, had picked out Henry's shirt, had given him a pep talk. "My son thinks I need to smile more," Henry said. "Says I look sad even when I am not." Veronica's expression softened. Smart kid. She bent for her shoes. Wobbled. Henry caught her elbow. The watch on her wrist caught the light platinum with diamonds. She pulled away quickly, but not before he felt how cold her skin was. "I should go," Veronica said, but did not move. She stared at the restaurant with longing. "Have you eaten?" Henry asked. She shook her head. His stomach growled loud in the quiet. She laughed, truly. Laughed this time. "I have not either, and honestly, going home to tell my kid I ate frozen pizza alone sounds worse than whatever this is." Henry gestured between them. Veronica studied him like a puzzle. "You do not know me," she said carefully. "I could be anyone." "Yeah," Henry agreed. "But you are crying in a parking lot because you were too scared to meet someone. That tells me more than a dating profile." The words hung between them, honest and unkind. Veronica's jaw tightened. Then she sighed, something shifting within her. "One meal, then I am gone." Henry held out his arm, an old-fashioned gesture. After a moment, she took it. Her hand was still cold, but she let him lead her toward the warm lights. Inside, the hostess took in Veronica's bare feet and tear-stained face, Henry's rumpled shirt. "Reservation for Beckett," Henry said. They were led to a corner booth. Veronica slid in her back to the room, hiding. The menu was expensive, leather-bound. Veronica did not open hers, just stared at the table. The contrast struck him. She looked at home in the expensive restaurant, but utterly lost in her own skin. "Tell me about your son," she said abruptly. Henry blinked, caught off guard. Most people did not want to hear about Leo on first dates, but Veronica's voice suggested genuine want, like she was using the question as armor. "Leo is 8. Henry started pulling out his phone. The kid grinned from the screen, gap-toothed, holding a science project. Smart talks like a philosopher. Henry scrolled to another photo. Veronica leaned forward, studying with surprising intensity. "He looks happy," she said, softly wistful. Henry felt his chest tighten. "He is. It took a while after his mom died, but yeah, he is good now." He said it plainly, not seeking pity, just stating a fact. Veronica's eyes widened, then filled with understanding. "I am sorry," she murmured. Henry appreciated that she did not ask questions. Instead, she reached across a finger, tracing the phone screen where Leo smiled. "He has your eyes, but better laugh lines." The unexpected observation made Henry smile for real. The waiter arrived. Veronica ordered without looking at the menu, her voice steady. She had composed herself, the crying woman replaced by someone who knew expensive restaurants. But Henry caught how her hand shook, reaching for water, how she kept glancing at the door. So Henry said after the waiter left, "Are you going to tell me why you were really crying?" It was bold. Veronica's fingers tightened around her glass. "If I tell you, you will either think I am crazy, or you will look at me differently. Either way, this ends." Henry leaned back. Grief had taught him patience. "Then do not tell me yet. Tell me something else instead." Veronica's eyebrows rose. "Like what?" He shrugged. "Anything. Whatever you want me to know." Giving her that choice felt right. Veronica stared for a long moment, then slowly began. "I used to have a dog," she said, her voice soft. "A big golden retriever named Copper. The dumbest, sweetest thing ever. Used to steal socks." A sad smile crossed her lips. "My father made me give him away when I was 12. Said I needed to focus on becoming someone important, not wasting time on animals." The way she said someone important dripped with bitterness. "I still think about that dog. Wonder if his new family let him steal socks." She looked up. "That is the kind of person I come from, who thinks love is less important than achievement." Henry felt understanding shift. The expensive watch, the luxury car, the fear of families. It was all making sense. "For what it is worth," he said carefully. "Leo has a rule. No socks because they are foot prisons. We are a barefoot family now." Veronica repeated foot prisons and laughed, truly laughed. "God, I cannot remember the last time someone made me laugh about something that simple." She wiped her eyes. "Your son sounds wonderful." Henry heard the hunger for something she had never had. Their food arrived. They ate slowly, conversation flowing easier. Veronica asked about his work fixing heating and cooling systems. He asked about hers. She said something vague about consulting. Henry let it slide. He told her about Leo's space obsession. Veronica listened with rare attention. When she smiled at his stories, her whole face transformed, a mask slipping to reveal someone younger, less burdened. "Can I ask you something?" Veronica said. Henry nodded. "Why did you come over in the parking lot? Most people would have driven away." It was fair. Henry considered his answer. My wife Amanda, when she was sick, she would say kindness was free and the world needed more of it. After she died, I forgot that. Leo reminded me. Kid sees someone sad, asks if they are okay. Makes me want to be better. Veronica was quiet, then reached across and took his hand. Her fingers were warm now. Thank you for not driving away. Henry squeezed gently. Thank you for not running. They sat like that, hands linked to strangers who had stumbled into something neither planned. It was the first time since Amanda had died that he had felt connected to another person, and it scared him how much he did not want it to end. When they left, Veronica walked beside him barefoot again, carrying her shoes. The parking lot was darker now, most diners gone. I should drive you, Henry offered. You are upset, and it is late. She shook her head. I live nearby but did not move toward her car, just stood under the streetlight. Henry waited. Somewhere distant, a dog barked. Veronica flinched. Can I see you again? Henry asked. Veronica looked at him with complicated emotion. Fear, hope, grief tangled. I do not know if that is a good idea. I am not in a good place to be around people, especially people with kids. Henry thought of her story about the dog. Leo is independent. I am just talking about coffee. Just seeing where this goes. Veronica bit her lip, fighting with herself. One more time. Coffee. But Henry, I am not who you think I am. My life is complicated. If we do this, there are things you will find out that might make you wish you had driven away tonight. It was both a warning and a plea. Henry heard both. He thought about playing safe, but he also thought about her laugh, her gentleness, the loneliness mirroring his own. Everyone is complicated, Henry said. I have a dead wife, a kid who thinks he can talk to stars, and a bank account that scares me monthly. You have whatever you have. Maybe we are both a mess. Or maybe we are just people who ended up in a parking lot on the same night. Either way, I would like to see you again. Veronica's eyes shimmered. You do not know what you are saying yes to. Henry shrugged. Probably not. But I said yes to a blind date tonight. Sometimes not knowing works out okay. They exchanged numbers, her fingers shaking. She saved herself as just V, not even her full name. I will text you, he said. She nodded, backing toward her car. Henry. She called when he was halfway to his truck. He turned. She stood under the parking lot lights, barefoot and beautiful and broken. Your wife was right about kindness. Tell Leo he is lucky to have you. Then she drove away. The drive home blurred Henry, replaying the night. By the time he pulled in, he had nearly convinced himself it was a fever dream, but his phone buzzed. A text from V. Thank you for tonight. I mean it. Henry stared before typing back. Thank you for not running. Sleep well. Inside, Leo slept on the couch, his neighbor Gwen reading. How did it go? Gwen asked. Henry thought. Weird, but good weird maybe. Gwen smiled. That is usually the best kind. After Gwen left, Henry carried Leo to bed. Met someone interesting tonight, buddy, he whispered. Not sure what happens next, but I think your mom would have liked her. The next days passed in a strange rhythm. Henry texted Veronica morning simple messages. She responded sporadically, like arguing with herself, but she always responded. Thursday, he suggested coffee. Saturday, she agreed after a pause long enough he thought she would say no. They met at a small place near the park. Veronica arrived exactly on time, dressed down in jeans and a sweater that still probably cost more than his wardrobe, but looked almost normal. Hi, she said, nervous. Hi back, he replied. Some tension left her shoulders. They ordered coffee, hers black, his loaded with cream and sugar. Conversation started awkward. Then Leo called breathlessly, asking if fish could survive in space with water helmets. Probably not Buddy. But good question. When he hung up, Veronica watched with that expression, part longing, part something darker. He calls you midday to ask about space fish. Henry shrugged. It is our thing. He has questions. He calls. Veronica's eyes got that shimmery quality. My father never answered his phone, too busy building an empire to talk about fish. She said it lightly, but Henry heard the old wound. Your dad sounds like a... Veronica choked on her coffee, laughing. That is, yeah, actually accurate. God, you just say things. They talked for 2 hours, coffee going cold. Veronica never said what she did for work, but she told him about places she had traveled, languages. She spoke a life that sounded glamorous and desperately lonely. Do you have friends? Henry asked. Veronica's face shuddered. Not really. People know who I am, but they do not know me. There is a difference. They started seeing each other regularly. Coffee turned to lunch. Lunch to park walks where Leo would join. The first time Leo met her, he studied Veronica intensely, then announced, You have sad eyes like Dad used to. But you smile real, so that is good. Veronica looked stunned, then crouched to his level. You have smart eyes like you see things others miss. Leo beamed, and from that moment he had adopted her. Henry watched them together with joy and terror, but warning signs appeared. Veronica never let him pick her up. She dodged questions about family, past, anything revealing. Once at the park, a photographer walked by, and Veronica turned away, hiding her face. Paparazzi make me nervous, she explained weakly. Her phone rang constantly, calls she never answered in front of him. And there was the money thing, the way she never looked at prices, living in a different economic universe than his paycheck-to-paycheck reality. 6 weeks in, Henry searched for her online. He felt guilty, but mysteries were piling up and Leo was getting attached. He typed Veronica with the few details he knew. What came back made his blood run cold. Veronica Ashford, billionaire heiress, daughter of tech mogul Silas Ashford, missing from public life, 8 months. Photos showed a different woman, perfectly styled, standing beside powerful people, but the eyes were the same, that sad look that had drawn him in the parking lot. Henry sat at his kitchen table, trying to process. Veronica was not just wealthy. She was wealth itself. She had been lying or hiding truth for weeks. He thought about Leo, how attached the kid had gotten. Thought about the woman crying beside a car she could buy 100 times over. The question, confront her or walk away. Could whatever this was survive secrets and class differences? He called her. Veronica answered on the second ring, her voice bright. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Henry's stomach twisted. We need to talk in person. Silence told him she knew. You looked me up, she said, finally, her voice flat. Yeah. A pause. Can you come to my place? I will text the address. I think it is time you saw everything. The building was everything he had expected. Sleek, modern. The elevator to the penthouse felt like ascending to another world. When doors opened into her apartment, Henry stepped into a magazine spread. Floor-to-ceiling windows, art probably worth more than his house. And in the middle, Veronica, in the same jeans and sweater, looking small and out of place in her own home. So she said, not moving toward him. Now you know. Henry walked in slowly. Everything expensive, elegant, perfect, and completely impersonal. No photos, no clutter. A hotel, a place to exist rather than a home. Why did you not tell me? Veronica laughed that bitter parking lot laugh. Because this is what happens. I tell people suddenly I am not a person anymore. I am a bank account. You saw me that night because you did not know. Henry thought about that. If he had known in that parking lot, would he have approached? Probably not. He would have assumed she had people resources. I would not have talked to you. Would have thought you did not need help. Veronica nodded. Exactly. But I did need help so badly. I was crying because I could not make myself walk into a restaurant and pretend to be normal. She moved to the window. My father built an empire. My mother maintained our image. And I learned love was transactional until you. I am not some saint, Henry said. I am a guy who fixes air conditioners. I do not know how to navigate your world. This is not my life. She turned, tears streaming. It is not mine either. This is my father's life. His expectations. I hate it. The galas. The fake friends. I hate that I cannot go outside without worrying. I hate that I gave away my dog because someone said achievement mattered more than love. Her voice broke. I canceled that date because I saw Leo and thought, I will ruin this kid. Henry closed the distance, taking her hands. They were cold again. You have not ruined anything. Leo adores you. You listen to him. Truly listen in ways most adults do not. Veronica shook her head. I do not know how to be normal. Do not know how to have relationships that are not about power or money. My father, Silas, he is going to find out about you. And when he does, he will try to destroy it. That is what he does. Let him try. Henry said, anger surprising him. I am not scared of your father. But even saying it, he felt the weight of the lie. He was scared not of the man himself, but what this revelation meant. The gap between their worlds felt insurmountable. Veronica must have seen the doubt because she pulled her hands away. You should go. This was a mistake. I should have stayed in that parking lot. I do not want to go, Henry said, but did not move toward her. They stood in her expensive apartment, the city glittering behind her. I like you, Veronica, more than I thought I could like anyone after Amanda. But I have Leo to think about, and this... It is complicated in ways I did not sign up for. The words came harsher than intended, but they were true. Veronica nodded. I know. I am sorry for lying, for hiding. You deserve better. They stood in silence, the weight of everything unsaid pressing down. Finally, Henry moved toward the elevator. I need to think. It is a lot. Veronica did not try to stop him. I understand. Tell Leo I am sorry. Henry stepped into the elevator. As the doors began closing, he saw her standing alone in that perfect empty apartment and wondered if he was making a terrible mistake. Leo knew something was wrong the moment Henry walked through the door. Where is Veronica? Leo's face fell when Henry said she was not coming. Why not? Did I do something? The question broke Henry's heart. No, nothing like that. It is grown-up stuff. Leo crossed his arms, looking like his mother, Amanda. That is what you said when Mom got sick. But it was not. It was her dying. The accusation hung in the air, true and painful. Henry sat heavily. Leo climbed up beside him, waiting. Veronica is different than I thought. She comes from a really different world than us. A lot of money, a lot of pressure. And I am not sure we fit in that world. Leo frowned. But she fits in our world. She likes foot prisons and space fish. Does not care that our couch has that stain. She just likes us, out of the mouths of babes. It is more complicated than that. Is it Leo challenged? Or are you scared? Like how Veronica was scared in the parking lot, but you helped her. Maybe she needs help now. Henry looked at his son. This kid who saw things with a clarity adults had lost. When did you get so smart? Leo shrugged. Mom always said love was brave. You gotta be scared and do it anyway. He leaned against Henry's side. I miss her. Veronica. She reads space books with different voices, and she listens when I talk about Mom. Does not get weird like other grown-ups? Henry wrapped his arm around his son. What if her dad is mean? What if he does not like us? Then we deal with it, Henry heard himself say. Leo looked up, hope brightening. So, we are not giving up. Henry thought about Veronica, alone in that apartment, about the woman in the parking lot so desperately lonely. He thought about Amanda's voice saying kindness was free. No, we are not giving up. But I need to talk to Veronica first. Leo grinned. Tell her we do not care about her dad's money. Tell her we just want her. Simple for kids. Maybe it should be simple for adults, too. Henry texted Veronica that night. Can we talk? Really talk? She responded almost immediately, like she had been waiting. Yes, please. They agreed to meet the next day at the coffee shop. Henry picked up Leo from school early. We are going to see Veronica, Leo asked, bouncing. Maybe we are going to try. When they walked into the coffee shop, Veronica was already there. Henry's breath caught. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, but when she saw Leo, her whole face lit up and the kid ran to her, wrapping his arms around her. I missed you, Leo announced. Veronica's hands hovered before settling on his shoulders, eyes meeting Henry's over his head. I missed you too, more than you know. They sat together, Leo between them. Henry felt the rightness of it, even knowing how complicated it would be. I am sorry, Veronica started. Henry shook his head. We both are. But Leo reminded me of something. Amanda used to say love required being brave. And I think whatever this is between us, it is worth being brave for. Veronica's eyes filled with tears. Leo reached over, patting her hand. It is okay to cry. Dad cries sometimes too. Veronica laughed through tears, squeezing Leo's hand. Your son is the wisest person I have ever met. He gets it from his mom, Henry replied. But yeah, he is pretty great. Henry leaned forward. Look, I do not know how to do this. Dating a billionaire was not in my life plan. But Leo is right. You fit with us. You fit in a way nobody else has since Amanda died. So maybe we figure it out as we go. Veronica wiped her eyes. My father is going to lose his mind. A heating and cooling technician with a kid does not fit his plans. So we deal with your father when we have to, Henry said. He reached across, taking her hand. It was warm this time, steady. I am not rich, and I cannot give you the life you are used to, but I can promise you honesty and real connection and a kid who already loves you, if that is enough. Veronica looked at their joined hands, then at Leo. It is more than enough. It is everything. Leo whooped loud enough to draw stares and threw his arms around both of them. Henry caught Veronica's eye and saw his own relief reflected back. They had made it through the first crisis. The next weeks were learning to navigate two worlds. Veronica started spending more time at their house, a modest 3-bedroom where kids played in the streets. She relaxed there, something untangling when she walked through the door. She learned to cook simple meals with Leo as assistant laughed when their first spaghetti turned into a sauce-splattered disaster. Henry watched her transform in his space, becoming someone looser, freer, more like the woman in the parking lot, the real person beneath her armor. Henry met some of her world, too, attending a charity gala where he felt like an alien in a rented tux. Veronica stayed close, her hand in his. He watched her navigate that space. Fake smiles, careful conversations, performing, being someone she was not. This was not living, it was surviving. When a man approached older with Veronica's eyes, but none of her warmth, Henry knew it was her father, Silas. So you are the mechanic, Silas Ashford said. HVAC technician, Henry corrected. And you are the father who made her give away her dog. The temperature dropped. Veronica's hand tightened on his. Henry, she warned, but there was gratitude in her voice. Silas's eyes narrowed. My daughter has told you about that ancient history. She was a child who needed discipline. Henry smiled without warmth. She was a kid who needed to be loved. There is a difference. Silas looked like he wanted to say more, but they were in public. Instead, he turned to Veronica. "We will speak later about your choices." Then he walked away. "I cannot believe you said that." Veronica breathed. "Did you see his face?" Henry shrugged. "He is a bully. Bullies back down when you stand up to them." Veronica laughed. "A little wild. That is my father. He could make your life difficult." Henry pulled her closer. "Let him try." But later in his truck, Henry's hands shook. He had made an enemy of one of the city's most powerful men. The fears circled, but underneath was stubborn certainty. He would do it again. Silas moved fast. Within 2 weeks, Henry lost half his contracts, all connected to Silas's empire. Henry sat at his kitchen table looking at his dwindling account, rage and fear mixing. Veronica was horrified. "I will fix this," she said. Henry shook his head. "That is what he wants." He picked up extra jobs, but the math was brutal. Leo asked one night, his voice small. "Are we poor now?" Henry could not lie. "We are tight on money, but we are okay." Leo processed this. "Is it because of Veronica?" Henry hesitated. "Kind of, but that is not her fault." Leo said with brutal honesty. "Mom would not have let someone hurt us." The words hit hard. No, Henry agreed quietly. She would not have. Veronica showed up the next evening looking different. Her hair severe, her suit screaming power. "I went to see my father," she said, her voice hard. "Told him to back off or I would go public with every family secret." He backed down. "Your clients will call again." Henry should have felt relieved, instead uneasy. "What did it cost you?" "He wants me back," Veronica said. "In the business public life." She laughed hollow. "He does not understand. I just want out." Henry took her hands. The expensive watch was back. "You do not have to go back." Veronica met his eyes. "It is not about money. It is about him going after you after Leo. I cannot walk away completely if I want to protect you." "That is not fair to you," Henry said. Veronica shrugged. "Fair stopped mattering when I fell in love with you." The words hung between them. It was the first time either had said it. "You love me?" Henry asked, his voice rough. Veronica nodded, tears spilling. "I love both of you, but loving you means protecting you, even if that means going back to being someone I hate." They stood in his kitchen holding each other when Leo's voice came from the hallway. "Veronica, why are you sad?" Leo crossed to her, wrapping his arms around her. "You do not have to be alone, sad. You can be together sad with us." Veronica crumbled, sinking to Leo's level. "How did I get so lucky to meet you?" Leo patted her back. "Dad says Mom sent you." "Your mom sounds smart," Veronica said. Leo nodded seriously. She said, "Family is not just blood. It is who shows up. You show up that makes you family." Veronica looked up at Henry over Leo's head. "Leo is right," Henry said. "You are family. We protect family even from Billionaire. People like that." Veronica laughed and cried, and Leo looked pleased with himself. That night they tried figuring out a path forward. "What if you cut ties completely?" Henry suggested. Veronica shook her head. "He would see it as war. Come after you harder. The only leverage I have is staying connected." She leaned against him. "Maybe there is another way. Going public with us, making it a story about love overcoming class. My father hates public sentiment." Henry thought about putting their private life on display. "You would be okay with that?" Veronica was quiet. "I would hate it, but I would hate losing you more. We could do an interview, tell our story on our terms, make it a fairy tale people root for. He cannot destroy that without destroying himself." It was risky, but Henry saw the logic. "What about Leo?" "We protect him," Veronica said firmly. "Control how much he is involved, but he is already part of this." Henry hated it, but knew she was right. "Let me think about it." Over the next days, he talked to Leo about it. Leo asked, "Will it make her safe?" When Henry nodded, Leo said simply, "Then we do it. Family protects family." They arranged an interview with a sympathetic journalist, Irene. The day came, and they told their story. The parking lot, the fear, the falling in love across worlds. Leo charmed everyone talking about space fish and foot prisons. When asked about her father, Henry said simply, "He does not understand. His daughter is not a business asset. She is a person who deserves to be happy, and she is happy with us." The article came out 2 days later with candid photos of them laughing, reading hands joined. The headline, "The Billionaire Who Found Love in a Parking Lot." Public sentiment exploded with support. People shared their own stories of choosing love over money. Silas tried issuing a statement, but it fell flat against public opinion. Within 1 week, Henry's phone rang with clients, the lost ones plus new ones. Business improved beyond before. Veronica was mobbed with supporters whenever she went out. It accomplished what they had hoped. It made them untouchable. Silas could not attack without proving every criticism in the article true, but attention took its toll. Veronica struggled with constant scrutiny. One night she broke down in his kitchen after someone wanted photos at the grocery store. "Every time I leave the house, I am that woman from the article. I am a story, not a person." Henry held her helpless. They had won the battle but lost something else, the privacy that made their relationship feel real. Leo found them like that. Without a word, he climbed on the counter, reached the fridge top, pulled down a jar. Inside were rolled papers. Mom made these before she got sick. She called them emergency truths. Said, "When things got bad, we should read one." He unrolled one. In shaky handwriting it read, "The hard thing and the right thing are usually the same thing." Leo looked at Veronica. "Is loving us the right thing even if it is hard?" "Yes," Veronica whispered. "It is the right thing," Leo said with certainty. "Then we figure out the hard parts together. That is what family does." Henry felt something break open in his chest. Leo is right. We figure it out. Maybe we need quieter places. Time for the story to die down. But we do not give up. Veronica wiped her eyes. "I am not used to things being hard and still being worth it." "Struggle means you care," Henry said gently. "We care about you, so we struggle together." They created new routines, weekends at his house, cooking meals, board games, space documentaries. She learned their rhythms. Saturday pancakes, Sunday park visits when crowds thinned bedtime routines. Slowly, in their small world's privacy, she transformed into someone more relaxed, more herself. 4 months after the article, Veronica received a letter from her father's lawyers. He was cutting her off completely. No family money, no trust fund, nothing. Come back or lose everything. Veronica showed Henry with shaking hands. "I knew he would do something." Henry read the cold legal language. "How bad is it?" She bit her lip. "I have savings investments, not homeless. But I will need a job, a smaller place, actually budget. I do not even know how to budget." "Then we teach you," Henry said simply. "Leo and I are experts at making $5 stretch." He pulled her into his arms. "This is what he wanted to punish you. But maybe it is actually freedom. No strings to him. Just you living your own life." Veronica pulled back. "You are not upset. I am bringing drama into your life." Henry shook his head. "You are family. Family does not get cut loose because they are inconvenient." Veronica moved out of her penthouse the following month, finding a modest apartment in Henry's neighborhood. Watching her downsize was strange, sorting possessions, deciding what mattered. Most she donated. She kept books, meaningful art, hidden childhood photos of her and Copper. Moving day was chaotic, with Leo running between boxes, Henry assembling big box furniture. Veronica looked around her new living room, small, ordinary, nothing like before, and burst into tears. "It is perfect," she said. "It is mine." She got a job at a nonprofit helping underprivileged kids access education. The salary was a fraction of before, but she came home energized like Henry had never seen. "I helped a kid get into a coding program today," she would say, her eyes bright. She used her connections, her knowledge of wealth and power, to open doors for people who had never had them. It gave her purpose, something running from her father never had. One night, almost 1 year after they met, Henry took her back to the restaurant parking lot late, nearly empty like that first night. "Why are we here?" Veronica asked, smiling. Henry parked in the same spot where his headlights had caught her crying. "I wanted to see if it felt different now." They got out. Henry walked to where her car had been. Veronica followed, standing where she had stood when he offered his hand. "Does it feel different?" Veronica looked around at the parking lot. The restaurant, Henry's truck, with 200,000 miles. "It feels like a lifetime ago, like that was a different person." She turned to him. "I was so lost that night, so convinced I would never fit anywhere, never find people who wanted me instead of what I could give. And then you saw me at my worst, and stayed." Henry closed the distance. "You were not at your worst. You were at your most real, and I fell in love with that version of you." He pulled out a small box. Veronica's eyes went wide. "This is not fancy," he warned. "Not the kind of ring you probably imagined, but it is real like us." Inside was a simple silver band with a small diamond. Nothing like jewelry from her old life, but beautiful in its simplicity. Veronica Ashford. Henry set his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Will you marry a guy who fixes air conditioners, lives in a house with stains, and comes with a kid who asks about space fish? Will you be part of our weird little family officially?" Veronica was crying, nodding before he finished. "Yes. God, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger. She kissed him there in the parking lot where everything started, where she had been at her lowest, and he had offered his hand. "I love you," she said against his lips. "I love your terrible jokes and your kind heart and the way you make me feel like I am enough exactly as I am." They got married 3 months later. It was a small ceremony in a park with close friends and Leo as ring-bearer. Silas was not invited, though he sent a cold letter congratulating her and noting the door was always open should she come to her senses. Veronica threw it away without a second glance. Henry's neighbor Gwen officiated. Leo gave a speech about how Veronica proved you did not need blood to be family just to show up. There were no dry eyes. Afterward, there was cake, cheap champagne, dancing to music from a Bluetooth speaker. Nothing like the society wedding she had been groomed for. It was everything she had ever wanted. 1 year later, they were still figuring things out. 2 people from different worlds building something new. Veronica's non-profit work led to a promotion bringing in just enough. Henry's business stayed steady, built on word of mouth and honest work rather than Ashford connections. Leo thrived, secure in a family rebuilt around love instead of obligation. They had dinner together every night, the 3 of them, plus whoever else they had collected, neighbors, friends, people needing a place to belong. Their house was small and crowded and full of laughter. It was everything the penthouse had never been. Sometimes Veronica would wake up at night still surprised to find herself in Henry's bed in this life she had accidentally fallen into. She would think about the woman crying in a parking lot, too scared to walk into a restaurant, too convinced she would ruin anything good. That woman felt like a stranger now. "You awake?" Henry would mumble, pulling her closer. Just thinking she would reply. "About what?" She would smile into the darkness, about how the best thing that happened to me started with a canceled date and a parking lot breakdown. Henry would laugh, that sleepy sound she loved. Lucky for both of us, I am a sucker who cannot drive away from a crying woman. Lucky for both of us, she would agree, meaning it with everything she had. On the first anniversary of their meeting, they went back to the parking lot one more time, bringing Leo. "This is where you guys met?" he asked skeptically. "Does not look very romantic." Henry laughed. "It was not. Your new mom was crying. I was sad. Everything was a mess." Leo looked between them. "But you fixed it." Veronica crouched to his level. "We fixed it together." That is the thing about broken things. Sometimes they are more beautiful after they heal because you can see where they were put back together. She pulled both Leo and Henry into a hug, the three standing in that parking lot where everything changed. Sometimes, she continued, the person you are meant to find shows up exactly when you have stopped looking for them. And sometimes, Henry added, they are crying next to an expensive car hiding from their own life. Veronica laughed, the sound echoing across the empty lot. And sometimes Leo chimed in, his voice serious. Your dead mom sends you a new one because she knows you need someone to make you laugh again. The truth hung in the air between them, beautiful and painful and real. Henry's wife, Amanda, had loved him enough to want him happy after she was gone. And somehow, impossibly, he had found that happiness with a woman who had been running from everything he had been running toward. Your mom would have liked Veronica. Henry told Leo, meaning it. She would have seen past all the scared to the person underneath. I would have liked her too, Veronica said softly. Anyone who raised a kid this wise must have been pretty special. They stood there a moment longer. Three people who had become a family through luck and choice and the kindness of a man who had seen someone crying and could not look away. Then Leo tugged at their hands. Can we get ice cream now? I feel like we should celebrate not being sad in parking lots anymore. They laughed and piled into Henry's truck, the same one from that first night, and drove toward ice cream and home, and the life they had built from broken pieces. Behind them, the parking lot sat empty and ordinary, holding the ghost of a meeting that changed everything, two lonely people who had found each other at exactly the right time, in exactly the right way. Because sometimes the best love stories start with canceled plans and tears in parking lots. Sometimes what feels like an ending is really just the beginning of something better. And sometimes when you stop running and let someone see you at your most broken, that is when you finally find your way.